You never forget the feeling of a perfectly struck golf shot. But how can you do it consistently? Because from one shot to the next, it can be completely different, as we all know. When you get to a good level though, it definitely gets a little bit more consistent. So what we've got to try and understand is what are the top level players doing differently that the amateurs and high handicappers are doing. And it's all to do with one thing. It's all to do with how you deliver the club to the ball. So the transition, the start of the downswing, is really the most important part to getting you into the correct delivery position. So you can reduce your slices, your hooks, strike the ball better, longer, straighter, with a lot more control. And I'm going to show you how to do it using the GForce swing trainer, which is going to be the best training aid that you've got for this job. Now the GForce swing trainer isn't just for fixing your swing tempo. It does a great job of doing that anyway, because it forces you to swing a lot smoother. But it's going to help you with this delivery position, because if your delivery position is out, then you can hit the ball out the toe, or you're going to slice it off to the right. So if you can learn to hit the GForce swing trainer straight, it's actually showing that you're bringing the club down on the correct plane. So what we need to do, when you first start using the 7-iron, you want to develop a nice smooth tempo. So just focus on swinging back and through continuously, just trying to make nice smooth changes in direction, just like this. Okay, what we don't want is to overuse the hands and arms too much. So we don't want to be pulling the club back quickly with the hands and arms or shoving it through. So really just trying to develop a nice smooth tempo, which will give your swing nice rhythm and good timing. Because if you struggle to hit this full stop, that's the first thing that you need to go and work on, getting your tempo right. So once you've done a few swings back and through continuously, just then hit a couple of shots just to make sure you're striking it at the center of the club face. Okay. Now if you start hitting at the center of the club face, but then notice the ball curving off to the right, there's two things that you need to correct. The first one is your downswing transition to get the club in the right delivery position. The second one is then making sure that your arms are not over accelerating on the way through, because both of those reasons are going to cause the face of the club to open out, so you'll always hit the ball to the right or out of the toe. So let's work on the downswing first. What you've got to do when you get to the top, the mistake most people make when they start down is they open their body out too soon, the shoulders. So you can see what that's doing with the golf club. It's moving it more out to in. So by the time I come to delivery position, which is here, you can see the shaft is already, it's going to be coming across the ball to the left. So if you slice the ball, as a lot of you do, then really you got to be looking at getting that transition better and getting the club down into a better delivery position. So how do we do that? It's really simple. When we get to the top, the first move down should be bringing your arms down quickly. Hands, arms, club need to move first. Okay, you got to get them down because they've got much further to travel than your body. Now you can see as I'm bringing the club down, the shaft angle there is about 45 degrees. Most of you who slice the ball or struggle to hit the GForce swing trainer straight, you're coming down a lot more vertical with the shaft. So from that position, you're going to have to create a lot more manipulations to hit the ball straight. And that's why, you know, one shot you're going to hit well, the next 4 or 5 you're not going to hit so well. So when you get to the top, you got to get the hands and arms down quick. The feeling I get is that I'm keeping my back to the target or keeping my chest pointing away from the target, and then I'm pulling the hands, arms and club down. I'm trying to get my hands back underneath my chest. So that's a good little checkpoint there. So if I pull the hands, arms and club down, you can see I'm able to maintain that shaft angle. It needs to be about 45 degrees roughly to get you into a good delivery position. But you know, you could be 5 to 10 degrees either side of that and you'll still hit good shots. I recommend you go and look at Pete Cowen on YouTube. He's got a small amount of videos on there, but if you go through those, you're going to pick up some really good points talking exactly about this and getting the club in the right delivery position. So when we get to the top, the first move, pulling the arms down, pulling the club down, get it down. Okay, if you rotate first, you're going to throw the club out because rotation causes things to swing out. So if I just stand and hold the club out in front of me, turn around, you can see how the club swings out. So if your first move from the top of your swing is your shoulders opening too soon, guess where the club's going to go? It's always going to go out. So we've got to try and delay that. And the delay is actually when we get to the top, keeping the back to the target, shifting or leaning into the target. That's another thing we need to try and do, lean into it. Yeah, remember we've got to get the pelvis shifted more forward before we bring the club down. So if we're leaning into it, shifting into the target, not rotating, the arms have got a much better chance of actually dropping into the slot. Okay, you see all the best players in the world in that position. When they've transitioned and brought the club down, we see the right elbow into the right side. We see the shaft is coming in really shallow. Garcia is a good one to look at. I did some good 3D analysis of his swing, so go and check that out on my YouTube channel. And also check out my steps videos if you want to get a bit more detail on your swing. If you want to get a bit more detail in your swing mechanics, you need to go and look at those steps videos. Okay, so I'm leaning in, dropping the arms down, and then putting the club into the delivery position. So where I want to be before impact is at a point pretty much where the shaft is parallel with my feet. That's the perfect delivery position. From there, you're going to activate the GForce shaft properly. It's going to unload properly. It's going to kick, and the face is going to square up. It's going to give you the perfect swing mechanics, or as close to them as you can get, to give you that more consistency in your game. So just to briefly go through it again, big mistake for a lot of people, open the body too soon. Okay, there's no way you can hit the ball from there. You're going to struggle to draw it. You're going to have to thrust your hips forward and make all sorts of compensations, and it's not going to look too good. The swing is actually pretty simple if you just break it down. All we're looking to do, look at my steps videos, is get into the position at the top, lean into the target, shifting your weight forward, pull the club down. Now you might think, well, that looks a bit stuck there, but you're not going to get stuck. Okay, what you're going to do is use the physics of rotation, a little bit like an ice skater where they tuck their arms in and they spin faster. So if your arms are much closer into your body, as you come down, you're going to use the ice skater physics to rotate the hips out of the way. Okay, you don't have to consciously rotate your hips. The physics of the swing is actually going to do that for you by tucking in, and then from there, you're not in control of the club. Okay, physics takes over. You're just in for the ride, holding on to the club as you go through. As simple as that. If you transition on the opposite end of the scale, where you open your shoulders out too soon, you start casting, releasing the club too soon, which is what will happen. Your arms get much further away from your body. So just like the ice skater with their arms out, they'll rotate slower. The rotation slows down. So if you're doing that movement, opening the body, casting the club out, your hips are going to stall, you're going to bunch up, and you're not going to hit it very well. So if you can learn to hit the GForce swing trainer straight by understanding that key move, the transition into the downswing, getting you into the proper delivery position, you can then transfer that into your golf club. The second reason why you're going to hit the ball to the right with the GForce swing trainer is if you keep accelerating your arms. So you'll tend to get to the top of your swing, maybe you'll bring the club down into a good position here, but you'll keep accelerating your arms through. And again, if you keep accelerating, if you're pushing on the handle there, again, the face is going to open out. So in the golf swing, it's called a kinematic sequence, where you transfer energy from the body into the golf club. And what happens with a lot of people is that they don't allow that to happen. They don't allow the energy to transfer, and they keep pushing or trying to force the club through, really down from poor mechanics. Again, if you get the transition wrong, you're having to try and make up for lost speed by forcing the club through. So If you do video yourself and you know you've worked on what I talk about in the transition, the downswing, and getting into the right delivery position, if you still hit it to the right, then you have got that problem of you keep accelerating your arms rather than them slowing down. So the best drill to do for that is the Tommy Fleetwood stoppers. Now you can see Tommy when he swings, as he comes through, he almost looks like he's got a bit of a cut-off follow-through. And that's actually really good using the GForce swing trainer, because it helps you really get the feeling of the shaft kicking and unloading. Now, all the students that I've taught over the past 20 years, they always hit the ball much better when they do the stopper drill, because it forces the arms and club to slow down, and then the energy to transfer then into the club head, which kicks the shaft forward. When the shaft kicks forward, the face, as you can see there, is actually squaring up. Now, I'm not saying you're stopping in the swing, but there's segments of the body that are slowing down as the energy transfers through the body into the club. So quite simply, all you're going to do is make your swing as normal, but just get a feeling of stopping about halfway through. And then what you'll find then is the face will square up, strike will feel really solid, and it'll be going a lot straighter. So those are the two reasons why you're only ever going to hit the ball to the right with the swing trainer. It's identifying issues in your transition, it's identifying issues in your delivery to the ball, your swing path, it's identifying issues in the sequencing, which is the transfer of energy. So if you just follow everything I've talked about in this video and then go to my steps videos on YouTube, I did about 5 steps, and that was with Rory McIlroy swing using 3D, analysing his swing and looking at the sort of movements that he was doing when he was playing his best. That was in 2014, 2015. So there's some really good stuff in there. The other videos I did analysing in 3D, Bryson DeChambeau, Ian Poulter, Sergio Garcia, Ricky Fowler. You know, there's a few little things in there that you really need to look at and understand that you've got to try and do that in your swing. And you know, the GForce swing trainer 7-iron, I've got the wedge, got the driver. I've got a driver shaft coming out soon. So this is the GForce driver shaft. This is the latest addition to the collection. What you're able to do with this is train with your own driver head. So when you buy the shaft, all you need to do is buy an adapter that matches your club head. So if you've got a TaylorMade or a Titleist, just buy the adapter sleeve. My shaft comes with the grip installed. It's 45 inches long. So all you need to do is trim the tip to make it the perfect length of your current driver shaft, and then get the sleeve, the adapter sleeve fitted, and you can just lock it in and out of your driver, train with it. It's great for your swing tempo training because it's your own head, it's standard weight. Okay, it's not a heavy swing trainer. You know, you're using a normal weight head, you're using a head you're familiar with, and you're able then to train your tempo. Use it as a pre-round warm-up tool as well. And then when you go out and play, just take the shaft out, put your playing shaft in, and you're good to go. It's going to help also with what I've just talked about, the delivery position into the ball. So most golfers with a driver, you've all got a hit impulse. Okay, from the top you grab the club, you try and yank it down. So if you've got a hit impulse from the top, guess where you're going? Body opens out too soon, club swings out, and you're not going to strike it out the middle of the club face. So the key, really, especially with driving, if you want to get more speed, more of a centered strike, a squarer club face, predictable ball flight, you've got to get that transition movement right. You've got to get the transition down into the delivery position So then you can activate the GForce shaft and get it to square up and unload on the ball. And then you can quickly transfer that feeling back into your own driver head. You know, it's going to take you 5 seconds to unlock the GForce Swing Trainer driver shaft, put your shaft back in, and then away you go and transfer those feelings.
I just caught the GForce Trainer 8. It's like the orange whip, only well made. You could hit shots with it, watch the ball fly. $100 said the first 20 go right. It'll train your rhythm, get your game back to where it used to be and maybe where you never knew. Pick it up, give it a rip. You need another toy, not another tip.